Do you have any serious concerns about him going forward?
No, he's continually. I mean, he had a really good day yesterday at practice. And we're going to go outside today. He had a really good day inside yesterday, but we'll go out today, and I think he'll follow it up with another good day. He's he had surgery on that knee. We can't forget that. I mean, it was a minor surgery, but still, I think it lingered a little bit. Some of the, because it's the plant leg that he collapses, or whatever you guys, whatever we want to call that. So it's changed up things a little bit, but he's, I think he's looked good, most recently.
You mentioned he changed that technique. Is there like a long-term plan to get away from that fall off? Or
we'll address that at the end of the season. It's not something you want to change right now. It's something he's been doing now for the last few years. It's, you don't want to mess with that. So
is it a question now, Dave, of what you guys feel comfortable in terms of his range? I mean, obviously we've seen him in the past go 60.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say he's been kicking well. He had a lot of power yesterday. He looked like old Bucker again. So that's encouraging.
So you think the rest,
I think that's helped him. The fact that he's been kicking a lot, we're kicking all the time now. I mean, so all that's going to help.
Dave, I'm sorry, I can't quite remember. How often do you guys still go over to the stadium?
Yeah, we go over every home game. We go over.
So
like today.
Already been this week?
No, we'll go over today.
You'll go over today?
Yeah, we'll go outside and practice, and then as soon as we have our session here, those guys go up and we kick a few up there at the stadium too, just to get a feel for how the field is. The field changes all the time as it get replaced, and check the wind and cold and all that stuff. And we just go up there, and every home game we do it. It's our advantage.
Do they pile in the Toub mobile? How do they?
No. Schaefer has like a car ready for it, like a cart, and they jump in a cart and they hit it and they come back.
Speaking of cold and windy, it looks like that's what we're going to get on Saturday.
Yeah, the weather is going to be a factor.
And of course it was in the first playoff game the Chiefs played last year as well. Did that inform you guys of those were pretty serious conditions?
Yeah, we've had a lot of weather games, and we do certain things as far as if it's a gusty, we hold it and hold the snap, and there's all different things that you can do. But we have a lot of experience kicking in the cold weather, so we feel like that's an advantage for us.
Dave, you talked about this before too, but Arrowhead's a little funny with the way the wind works there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's typically swirling.
Yeah, if you're sitting in a stadium and you see the flags, and I don't want to give away your secrets, but and you see the flags blowing one way, it's going to be opposite on the field because the wind comes down and hits on one of the side of the stadium and then blows back across. So it's opposite of what you see with the flags. It's kind of different.
You referred to this time of year's return season. Just what have you seen from Nico, and how excited are you to see what he can do in the postseason?
Yeah, he's really done a good job. I'm really pleased with how he's accepted the role, and he works so hard in practice. And he's a guy you want him to succeed. I said this in training camp. I really love the guy, and I really do. And he's gotten an opportunity here, and he's taken it and ran with it.
You guys don't have a lot of young players, but Ariza is a rookie, so this will be his first postseason.
Yeah.
Taking any advice for him on jitters or whatever happens in the postseason?
Just do what he's been doing. I mean, it's once the game starts, he's going to be nervous. I mean, everybody's going to be. I mean, first time guys are going to be nervous, but he's done it all year, and once he gets into the groove of the game and after the first punt, he'll be fine.
Is he? I know early on he wasn't getting he was too many touchbacks and a little bit better. It's kind of up and down this year. Is it about what you'd expect from a rookie?
Yeah. He's been up and down. Let's just say that. And but when he's good, he's really good. So we just got to get more of those days, with him. So.
Dave, with that extra point that the Texans blocked last week, how much you've been able to use that as a talking point that every play is probably going to matter?
Yeah, I think. From our experience, what we've done this season, and then watching that, you see how important it is. I mean, because the Chargers, they got a little momentum after. They had a big momentum play, a big, long touchdown. And then they come out and then they get the extra point blocked. Then all of a sudden the momentum swung back to Houston. And that was a big, big swing in that game right there. And, they got the 2 points on it. So, I mean, field goal protection just as important as the rush, that we do on field goal blocks. So, I mean, every down on special teams, you can win or lose a game, and especially, at this point in the season in the playoffs.
And then kind of speaking of the Texans playoff game last time, the momentum over Sorensen and Darwin Thompson and
yeah.
that we played that really kind of set you guys up.
Unbelievable. You know, we had some things go against us, and all of a sudden we swung it back, and you know, special teams, you know, swung the momentum in that game for sure, no question.
Last one, back.
Sorensen's play in particular,
the fake.
Yeah, what do you remember about that and its significance really in everything that happened after?
When it was a direct snap to the PP, I was scared as hell, you know, for a second, and then I saw Dan go over and make the tackle, and it was huge, you know. So, you know, our guys were on it. It's going to be no different this week. You know, you have teams trying to steal possessions. I mean, that's, you know, we talk about that all the time, and you know, this is certainly a game where that could happen.
And these are the kinds of things that are great illustrating points this week.
No
with your
question.
guys.
No question. Yep.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thought you guys were all taking off on me. Made it back, huh? Lakers fan?
Yes, sir.
I like it.
From Boston? You're a Lakers fan?
No, I'm just looking at the. No, I got to stick with my Celtics. That's never changed. Listen, great to have this week and be with you. That means we're still playing. Hopefully, we're doing the same thing next week. And with that, I'll just kind of open it up. We're fired up to get going and playing this game. It's been a while, so the guys are ready.
We'll see about his return, but should he play? What's realistic to expect from Jalen Watson, you think, this week?
Yeah, so he's been out there a little. You know, we had last week those couple of practices. He had yesterday, because yesterday was a no helmets practice, which is a little bit different. Him and I spoke this morning. I think these next 2 days will be really important because hopefully we're going to get outside here. We'll have helmets and at least shells on. He needs to get up to the speed of the game, and it's not regular season speed, right? It's playoff speed. So we'll see where we're at and make a good decision at the end of the week.
You mentioned it's been a while. You know, how much is there a tried and true formula for missing games but staying sharp, missing days and games and staying sharp? Do you have just, this is what we do, or is there still a discussion?
Well, here's what I would say is we trust our leader, and Andy has a unique, keen sense of, you know, when to pull off, when to push it. You know, we did a couple of things in the quote-unquote bye week, you know, work-wise, and I think it was effective. And I think our guys in the past have responded to that pretty well, so hopefully same thing will happen. I mean, we're looking to have a fresh football team firing on all cylinders in this game. We'll see.
Just considering how effective Nico Collins has been, how fortunate are you to have a Trent, and, you know, the kind of quarterback to counteract that?
Yeah, I mean, that'll, you know, we'll try to work that. It won't always work that way. I mean, they're pretty smart. They move guys around. But, you know, listen, no matter who ends up on 12, I mean, I'm talking about all 11 sets of eyes on defense need to know where he is. He's what we call a game wrecker, and if you let a game wrecker on offense wreck the game, that's not going to be good. So he's a guy that we're certainly very concerned about.
How about C.J. Stroud? One of the big plays last week was his run, but how about his overall game?
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with him. I told him that after the game last time we played him. For young guys, so talented. And we all saw what he did last week with his feet. You know, I think when the importance of these games keep amping up, you can expect quarterbacks to say, hey, I might have to run it here. And so we've talked extensively about, you know, trying to bottle this quarterback up because we saw last week what he can do when he decides to run it. It's like all these athletic quarterbacks who play in this league now. It brings a whole nother dimension, and you got to figure out ways to, you know, whether you commit one guy to the quarterback, turn three loose, you know, however you do it, you got to have ways to do it. Now, with that being said, we got to get him in those situations. I mean, it's first and second down, and they're on schedule. That makes it really tough. When a quarterback takes off on a first and second down, you know, run-pass call, and it ends up passing, he's going. That's challenging.
The first time around, you were headed into 3 games in 11 days. It was a short week by one day. You played on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Does that, looking now that we're not looking at any secrets of what you're prepping for the next, were you happen to prep the next couple of games as well? Did it take away from your Houston prep?
You mean when we played them?
Yeah, you were starting that stretch of 3 and
Yeah.
3 days.
No, I tell you, the way I remember it, it all goes like this on me. But it's just we didn't get ahead. We planned on that, but like I'm gonna say, a month, way early, the bye week. Somewhere else, Andy and I were talking about. Did we have a Sunday to Monday game? Maybe something where there might have been an extra half a day. And I remember doing a little bit of work because of that, but not during that particular week.
On Stroud, he's a young quarterback, but he's already won a couple of postseason games. How long does someone have to be in the league and prove things before they kind of have a rep for whatever?
They don't call him a rookie anymore.
Yeah.
They call him I don't know. He won a playoff game last year and this year, right? I mean, that's some playoff experience. I mean, I'm sure they feel really good about the way their offense is rolling right now. I mean, that's the only thing I have my eyes on. And I see a confident team now. I know that after us, they had a little bit of a lull. I think a couple games. They played Baltimore, and then they had the one game at the end. But coming off of that win last week and the way they played, I would imagine there's going to be a confident group coming in here.
You guys did a decent enough job against Mixon, not hurting you in that game. How
Yeah.
much is he a key?
Well, he's always going to be a key. I mean, anytime you can get ahead, that helps, right? Because we're trying to get him one-dimensional. I mean, that's just defensive football. When this team is able to go run or pass, I think they're really challenging because the running back is who he is. And it's going to begin with us. We're always talking about the quarterback, we're talking about the wide receiver, but if we don't stop them from handing the ball off and running the football, it's going to be a long day. So that'll be focus number one.
Last two right here. Go ahead, Mike.
Steve, I know there's oh, sorry, sir. It has no bearing on this game, obviously, but it's a momentous thing in franchise history, coming back from that 24-0 deficit to the Texans.
Back, yeah.
And I just wonder what you'll remember from that game. And
Yeah. Boy, that was the first playoff game in 2019.
yeah, it was your first playoff game
Yeah.
here, I think. Yeah.
I just remember bang, 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 and it was like we got none, and it ended up 24, right?
Yeah.
And then as quick as that happened, it quick turn. Then we got a special teams play, and I think we made a play on defense. I think Dan Sorensen made a big play. It's coming back to me a little bit now. Like, we didn't go back and look at that tape, obviously. But I mean, that builds confidence. I mean, the one thing, I've said this before in a number of these, that the one thing from a defensive standpoint, if you're part of the defense for the Kansas City Chiefs, is you have extreme confidence in the quarterback that we end up putting out there, to whether if we're ahead to extend the lead or whether we're behind, he can get us back in it. So I'm sure that day just built that confidence just more.
Your name's obviously, and I know you addressed this last time, talking about head coaching positions and everything out there.
Yeah.
Just balancing that and getting ready with the extra
Yeah,
time.
I'm going to just hang here with what and that's where it's at. I mean, I'm a tunnel vision guy. I'm not smart enough to think about anything more than these dudes were playing here, but I appreciate it. We good?
Thanks,
All right, thank you.
Wants us to be fast, so. Go ahead, Jeff.
So this lull you guys had here in this prep time, kind of find out who you were going to play. What was it like for you guys to kind of watch things unfold and get work with these guys who haven't done anything in a while?
It's been good for us. You go into it, you need the players get the physical rest, which is great, and they need that. It's always a benefit. But then as coaches too, I think you get a little bit of a mental reset too, which is good, and it reminds you a little bit of making sure that you don't put in too much for that game as you prepare through that. Now, the good thing is you don't know who you're playing until a few days ago, so you can kind of whittle that down. But it's important for the rest, mentally and physically, and then the balance. And I think like with being here with Coach and being a part of the organization where you prep for the Super Bowl, he does a great job of making sure we stay in line and not too much, but enough. And I think that for players and coaches, it's really good.
Is it a tried and true formula that you guys know what it is, or is it something you kind of still tweak and discuss each time when you have that kind of break?
There might be a little bit here or there, but for the most part, it stays pretty true to how we do things. I think every particular coach might have a little bit of his own unique way of what he does and the areas that we focus on, but the biggest thing is don't try to do too much. Just, and then you can also, it gives you a great opportunity to get into the self-scout. You can really dive into that and see what they're looking at and then see where we're at and the tendencies we might have and whether you continue to do that or you break it.
Coach Reed mentioned he's rotating DJ and Joe left tackle. As you guys work through that, whatever you're willing to reveal, what is that process like? How are you guys trying to figure that out together? Yeah,
it's a good process where they both are able to get in there and just kind of give it their best, which I think is great. And they're two big-time professionals that understand how to handle this and how we'll go about it, and that's all you can really do is know. And in the end, we have trust in both of them. So as it goes and we practice and we go through that part of it, in the end, Coach will make a decision and we'll rock with that.
Matt, Andy the other day mentioned something about ones going against ones. You had more of that this week too to keep the pace up?
Not this week. We did that during the bye week there. We were able to do it. That was more just speed for the pace, not so much scheme at all. That was more so for us to just go and get that speed going. And I think it's great for the guys, especially when you're coming off a little bit of a break there. We had that Christmas game. We had some time off, came back. So one of the things that I appreciate being a former head coach and watching how Coach Reed navigates through these times, it's really impressive to see how he handles the temperature of the players and coaches when they get back at it, right, with speed and doing things fast, but then also knowing when he's a magician at knowing when to pull back too with the players.
Matt, Pat's been through these kind of games a number of times now. What advice do you have for him specifically in these?
Don't change anything. Just keep it going. It's working pretty good. But in all honesty, he does a great job of balancing. Even going back to the Denver game, for him, he didn't change anything. Same thing. He's got to stay in his habit of how he does things, what he looks at, and then again for him too, like not do too much. Don't start, because what happens is you start chasing ghosts. You see so much that you end up maybe sometimes talking yourself out of something that's pretty good.
Just considering the Texans front, what are some maybe extra concepts you could use to make sure Pat is protected to be able to operate?
We have some different things that we like to do. I look back and just see, like with us playing them at the end of the year and the way they were playing, going into that game, we knew what they presented. I think now when you look at that defense in general, their confidence level of how fast they're playing and aggressive, you felt that in the Chargers game. And that's been going on for a while. They're good football players. They lead the league in sacks for a reason. So if we don't respect that, that's shame on us. So we got to have different ways to do different things. And then there's going to be times where there's one-on-one matchups where our guys, we're all pros here, so we got to lock down and give them respect. But we believe in our guys too. So I think that's a big part of it.
Matt, from a play calling perspective early on in the game, especially these magnitudes, how do you go about getting them into rhythm, building that confidence, and getting that execution to the point you want?
It's a critical part of the game in general, is that start. And I think for all of us to be able to just communicate with everybody, and then Pat's got to feel good with it, Coach Reed, the balance of what we're doing. And, again, the one thing that I really am proud of our offense in general of doing is protecting the football. And whether it's fumbles, interceptions, et cetera, we've emphasized that, and the guys have taken that there. So early on, protect the football, get touchdowns, get a lead, let our defense go. But I forget the numbers we looked at as a staff and with the team, but there's a lot of games that are coming down to one score. So you better be good situationally too, so we're able to really lock in on situational football.
Matt, you started the season, obviously with history, and I know Andy's addressed this a couple times, a chance to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. would have been easy to feel like maybe the regular season can be boring, right? Like, or that you guys like knew they were going to be measured by this time of year. Obviously, your record says you guys were able to focus, but do you feel like maybe there's a wind in the sails that this is where you knew it was going to be all about the postseason, and maybe there's a little more energy because of that?
Yeah, it's not easy to go through what you're saying because every week you're public enemy number one and you're getting the team's best. So there's that mindset, I think, of the mental callous of being prepared every single week to know you're going to get the best. Now you get into the playoffs and you have the benefit of home field advantage, which is massive. But we talk about it all the time. The speed of the game is so much faster. And every play matters. I mean, not that they don't before, but like now it's win or go home. So I think it's bigger challenge for us as coaches and for the experienced players to make sure that guys like Xavier Worthy and some of these rookies that are going to be playing a lot is making sure they understand, locking in on the simple things of no penalties, being decisive with that ball security. But now it is go time. And I think the benefit for us, for our players, is they've been there, done that. So we have a little bit of advantage that way, but it actually sometimes makes it harder because there is that thing that's out there as far as what we're trying to do.
Pat, like a lot of guys, hadn't played for a while in a game setting, obviously. Can you see the things can you see in practice that he's been able to stay sharp, that he's going to come out ready to go Saturday?
Yeah, I have no doubt of that. It's probably some people think through of, is that layoff, does it hurt you and that sort of thing, because once you get right back out there and you get in that first play, it's right back to it. So it probably more than anything, Adam, it's the conditioning of the players. And man, our guys yesterday, I just think through a practice yesterday, and it was exciting because we had some guys that were really running around, and when you as a coach we all kind of noticed, like, man, they're running pretty good and they're getting some conditioning in, and it seems like a lot, but it's good. The players want that. They want the conditioning. So mentally, stay sharp, stay on top of timing, physically stay in good conditioning, and then emotionally and mentally, when you get to game day, the juices are going at our stadium, Arrowhead, and it's just going to be a lot of fun, and so you want to kind of balance that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Did you say there's a deal now?
Chris, we've had fun with talking to you about sack totals this year and everything, but the honor teams are starting to come out. Your first team, everything. I'm just wondering if you feel appreciated, even with the lower sack totals than you've had in recent years.
Yeah, that's an honor. You got to very appreciative for my peers and respectable members to vote me in that class. That's a high class. I'm super appreciative for it. I think it goes to show the group of guys I have around me to be able to be flexible and do what I do and play at my best ability. Sometimes a number doesn't allocate the value of an individual and how much they can bring to the table. So I'm glad we was able to look past that and be voted as a Pro Bowl, I guess. But I don't really care about Pro Bowls, man. No, like, when you think about it, I had 15 and a half sacks my third year and then didn't even make a Pro Bowl. So that's when I stopped really caring about, like, making a Pro Bowl. Or All Pro is important to me because, it's like the best at your position. And, that's a respect thing from your peers and also from the league executives. But Pro Bowl, I never really cared about it. I felt like it was a popularity contest, but we care about Super Bowls here, man. Like, listen, they can keep all the bowls they want, man. We care about Super Bowls, and that's what we play for. That's what we care about. That's the most important thing.
Chris, you missed that last game. I guess just from a health standpoint, how are you feeling with the calf and everything like that?
I feel really, really good. I was able to get 3 weeks of rest and get my legs back under me. It was a long season. Fortunate enough, we was able to still the first round bye after the Pittsburgh game, and I was able to take another week off. So I basically had like 2 to 3 bye weeks. Feel really good, feel excited, ready to go play some football.
As you watched that game you missed, defensive line played really well. Just what did you take away from watching on the sidelines, just seeing them maybe be able to have that production?
I told Joe Cullen he's going to get me out of here sooner than later playing like this. Yeah, man, the guys play really, really good. But we got a cohesive group that works really, really well together. A lot of guys stepped up this year, stepped up their game. George, Tershawn Warren, who was having one of his better years. We had Mike Pennell come in and be a veteran leader for us throughout the year. We had Derek Nottie, who's been here with me from my tenure with the Chiefs. And a lot of guys stepped up, so there's no doubt in my mind that we had any doubt going into the game. And I wasn't surprised off the success we had within the game. I just told Joe, it's like, I'd rather you have the success with me than without me. Then Chiefs start second guessing, like, don't get rid of me this fast.
Chris, you mentioned that you're about winning Super Bowls. I mean, you guys had, more pressure than anybody, being 2-time defending champions coming in. As you look back on it, like, you're going to be measured by what you guys do now, like you said, winning championships. Was it hard to focus and get through 17 games and do all that the way you guys did? I mean, the record says you did it, but as you look back on it, was it difficult to get through the regular season knowing this is what was going to matter?
Was it hard to stay focused? Or yeah. No, I think every year is a new challenge. Every year is a new opportunity to go and achieve the ultimate goal, and that's to win a championship. And the journey is hard. You could say that. Was it hard to stay focused? I mean, throughout the year, each individual have their own stuff going on, whether it's at home, in the building, outside of the building, whether you're not hitting your numbers or whether you want to be successful. It's a lot of personal challenge you go throughout the season. But as in staying focused, I think all of us are here. All of us enjoy being here in the building. It's such a friendly environment. And I think we love the space of being able to compete. Not only just for individual's sake, but as a team. I think that's important to keep the continuity of the group, and I think we do a really good job of holding each other to a standard throughout every game, not just throughout the year, but every game. We understand the importance of every game and what it actually means down the road.
Chris, you mentioned about Super Bowls. You got your first Super Bowl sweatshirt on today, right? There's just a handful of you guys who were there on that team who are still here. Do you have any sense at all about how just important this run you guys have been on is to, like, Kansas City? Like in 20 years, there'll be people wearing 95 Jones jerseys out of Arrowhead, whether it's here or another state.
Yeah, man, I was supporting the 2019 team. That team is different, right? Every team is different in its own way. Every team has its own character, and that team was a special team, man. And I think this team is a special team, but it's different in a way. This team shows a lot of resiliency. This team can win in a multitude of ways, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. And we've broadcasted that throughout the year. This team had a lot of close games. We have had a lot of injuries, faced a lot of adversity early on throughout the year. So this team has overcame a lot just to be here. So I think that just shows you the testament of how strong and how together this team is and how they can overcome a lot. And has overcame a lot. So, I appreciate the journey. You gotta be present within the moment. You gotta appreciate the journey, and also you gotta continue to challenge yourself.
Chris,
Last couple. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, for you, how do you convey to some of those guys that haven't been in these moments and haven't gotten to AFC championships or been in those tip-top moments of what it's like?
Yeah, we only have like a handful of guys on defense that haven't been in this moment. I think like 2 or 3 guys on defense that haven't had a Super Bowl or have been to the AFC Championship. And I think those guys get the importance of locking in and how important these games are right now. It's not like we can come back and we lose, we can come back and play again. Everything right now is hyped up, whether it's your own personal ability, your skill work. Everybody's putting extra work in and throughout the building. I think it's a fun time, man. It's a fun time. You got to appreciate this. It's not a lot of teams in it. There's 8 teams left, and we're one of them. So.
And just a thought on C.J. Stroud and the Texans offense. You saw him just a month ago. What kind of, how difficult is it to deal with them?
He's really good. That team is really, really good. They had some injuries, unfortunately, but the quarterback is top tier. He's patient, has a big arm. I respect the heck out of their head coach. And they got a solid room over there. They got a lot of playmakers that they can put up real numbers if you give them time and opportunity to. So probably try to contain C.J. Stroud and eliminate Joe Mixon. He's been running crazy this year. You know, we was very familiar with Joe Mixon, seen him with the Cincinnati Bengals, and we played him multiple times, and he actually beat us in a big moment. So we know he's bringing that energy over there, and we are excited to see him.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.